I believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth. Amen. Amen.
The last talk was about God as creator, and maker of heaven and earth is a reminder of something else that we must not forget. God is good and creates nothing that is not in itself good. And that's more or less all that needs to be said directly about maker of heaven and earth. But now might be a good time to look at the so-called conflict between science and religion. The science, quote unquote, that opposes religion is not real science, and the quote unquote religion that opposes science is not real religion. I was surprised when I came to realize that over the years, science has progressed very largely through scientists who believed in God and were motivated by their religious belief. For example, Sir Isaac Newton, who discovered so much about gravity and mechanics. Father Gregor Mendel, who discovered genes and chromosomes. And it was a Jesuit priest who first proposed the idea that the universe began with a Big Bang, and the idea that the universe is expanding. These are just three examples. The kind of science, quote unquote, that is opposed to religion goes something like this. The Bible tells us that the world was created in 6 days. Christians believe that the world was created in 6 days. Christians are wrong because the world was not created in 6 days. Now, every one of those statements is false. The book of Genesis begins with a creation myth. A myth is not a lie. A myth is a way of telling the truth in terms of a story, and stories are one of the ways in which people communicate. A theory is soon forgotten, but a story lasts for centuries. So let's take the 6 days. The first creation myth in Genesis is set against the background of the best understanding of science that people had at that time. The Babylonians had the most advanced science, and the idea of the waters above the vault of heaven and all the rest of it, that was good, solid Babylonian science of the time. If it were written today, the book of Genesis might well have God start by creating subatomic particles or neutrinos or something. But whenever it is written, a myth does not make scientific assertions. It simply takes contemporary science as the background. It is saying that the existence of everything is not a random accident. It is intended. What the myth is saying is that everything is made by God. Stories work by progression. They have to have a beginning. They develop, and eventually they come to an end. The first Genesis myth labels the progression by means of days, but those are not meant to be 24-hour periods. Indeed, they're not even time at all. They are stages of dependency. The point of the story is not to say what you would have seen if you had been there with a stopwatch, but to show that everything is organized, ordered, structured. There is one more part of the myth that says something important about creation, something we mustn't forget, but we often do. What God created is good. God saw that it was good. God saw that it was very good. To pull all this together, what the first Genesis myth really says is this: the universe and everything in it is intended. It is dependent on God. It was ordered by God, and it is good. In the next talk, we look at what is meant by all things, visible and invisible.